Okay, today we're going to talk about Steve Johnson's 909 American deadlift record. He's at the boss of bosses in the 308-pound weight class. He weighed in at 294, and he made a gallant attempt at 942. He's very close with that 942. So we're going to talk about 9 ways that helped him deadlift 900. Now, obviously, this is the whole story, just part of it, but these can apply specifically to you. So take what's going to work for you and discard the rest. And usually I do these things totally impromptu. I actually did notes. I got a few notes on here. So we're going to talk about the 9 reasons. So first off, let's talk a little bit about Steve. So Steve was his background, he's a nose guard, okay? Back in the day, in the defense Steve played, it's a 50 defense. You line up head up on the center. They don't do that nowadays. They usually do like different schemes where the lineman is in a gap. So they got responsible for one gap. Was the kind of nose guard I'm talking about. Steve, he hits the center off the ball, knocks him back, is responsible for both gaps, and then finds a football. So in that defense, you put the baddest bastard on the field at nose guard, and he's going to be responsible for 2 gaps. And that's the kind of attitude he brings to training. Steve's a complete animal. He's 100% committed, so you have to realize that going into this. Okay, now let's talk about the 9, tips we say that helped him deadlift 900 here. Number 1, trap bar deadlifts, okay? So when I saw Ed Cohn and I did a seminar last weekend, and we talked a little, the first thing he said is, wow, Ed's been a great mentor to me and very great to Steve as well. First thing he said is, I really think what helps Steve with that 900-pound deadlift is those trap bar deadlifts. So what the trap bar deadlifts did is it gave him a little break, because he's a deadlifter who uses a lot of back, so it gave him a little break from that movement. It was it saved his lower back, and what it also did is it was a different stimulus, and it taught Steve leg drive. So if you look at this one versus his last meet, he actually got a little more leg drive, and he went from 843, about 6 months prior, to 909 in one meet. So obviously the leg drive was a huge deciding factor. So the trap bar can be very helpful in teaching leg drive. Number 2, commit to the pull. Okay, so I always say, like, a good training partner would be sort of like a good deadlifter. These guys are just a little bit off. So, I mean, Steve's a little bit crazy. He's the type of person that you might be a little anxiety-ridden or apprehensive around, just because the dude can snap. And that's a good thing for a deadlifter, because he is 100% committed to the pull. He would have his back break before he purposely dropped a deadlift in the meet. And that commitment is what helped him, in a large part, get the 909. Got to commit to the pull. Okay. Number 3, jump training. So we can sit here and talk about, shock training, Soviets, not really plyometrics, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to talk about that today. We're just talking about simple jump training. We have a video on jump training for strength athletes. I'll link at the bottom of this. But by Steve starting off with the jumps before his deadlifts, this has helped him in a number of ways. It increased his rate of force development and has made his subsequent sets more explosive because of that deadlift. I first discovered this like 15 years ago, or whenever I was competing for a big deadlift. One day beforehand, someone was challenging me on a basketball court to see if I could dunk. Doing a lot of jumps, I went into the deadlift, and I felt like a freaking animal. I was pulling that bar so fast off the ground, it was unbelievable. And since then, I found out Jesse Kellum was in around the same time, and we both started bringing in the plyometrics jump training into powerlifting, and these were extremely helpful. And Steve will provide some guidelines with a link at the bottom. Next, number 4, isometrics. So one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. And the isometrics were our freedom fighter from holding it back at Steve's deadlift. Steve was constantly getting stuck right above his knee. So what we did is put the bar in the pins, and Steve would pull as hard as he can against the pins for 5 to 6 seconds. We'll put a video link at the bottom of this one too, so you can see that. He'd pull as hard as he can for 5 to 6 seconds. And this isn't some exercise in futility where you just kind of hold it there. It's not a hold. It's you try to break those pins. It's your program your central nervous system when it encounters an enemy, not just to hold ground, but to pile drive it into next week. And that's exactly what you do. And you want to break those pins. As Steve would talk about, just how draining it was, because isometrics are useless if you're not pulling correctly. So you do those, then do your speed deadlifts, and they're very helpful by producing maximal force in a sticking point. So you can do about 15% more force, and obviously it would work for Steve's 909. Number 5, great support system. Steve has his partner in crime, Lauren, is very supportive of everything Steve does. She's awesome to him, and he's an awesome gym there at Chicago Barbell Compound. You should check it out if you're in the Chicago area. And that great support system around him obviously going to help him. So if you have a great support system, you're going to be more likely to succeed. Okay. Number 6 here. So we start the workout with a squat. In a meet, you're going to squat before you deadlift. So what this also does is sort of an activation. So it's not heavy enough to be like a full-on pre-exhaust type of thing, but it's going to help get him more activated for what's to come. So the squats first were very helpful. Get him conditioned to do that. Okay. Then next, overhand deadlift holds. Okay, so Steve's grip, this is, I should say, number 7. Steve's grip never became a problem. So we start, what the old thing about gas station ready is be ready so you don't have to get ready. So there's going to become a time and a place where your grip's going to become a problem. So instead of letting that day arrive, we did preemptively striked and made that issue or potential issue no issue at all. So Steve was able, before the meet, to hold 500 pounds, just double overhand for 15 seconds, and that helped build his grip. Number 8, pause leg presses. Okay, so we got a lot of notes here on pause leg presses. Okay, so a lot of the the pump and pose kind of machine junkies that can barely lift themselves up to off the toilet, or give the leg press a bad name, and it's really sad. This can be a great movement if done correctly. So Steve's getting a good range of motion, pausing at the bottom and pushing it up. So what this does is, it's also used by Yuko Hola, Ed Cohn, other people. So the leg press begins with a push off the floor. The deadlift begins with a push off the floor. So there's some transference. A lot of people will use deficit deadlifts, which potentially could be a great movement, but then they get, but if you're getting out of position and it turns into something else, it's no longer serving you. So if you're one of these all back deadlifters that needs to get a little more leg drives, posterior chain dominant type of guy, I think you can really benefit from these pause leg presses. Okay. Finally, number 9, the use of affirmation. Okay, so we got a lot of notes on affirmation here. The subconscious mind works for you. So what you're basically doing is stating something as if in the positive. So you want to do all your affirmations in the present tense and in the positive. So what Steve would say is, I give myself permission to deadlift 900 pounds. And so you're basically designed by God to be a goal-seeking mechanism. So the way that works is your goals are constantly working for you or working against you. Your subconscious is working for you, working against you, because whether you know it or not, you have some goal. Okay, so your goal may be self-sabotage, and it may be, you may not even know it, but that's what it could be. So you can program your subconscious mind. And the way you do that is through affirmation, through positive statements. The subconscious mind works with a relaxed faith. So you have to have, you have to keep saying it over and over and over. I give myself permission to deadlift 900 pounds. He'd say that upon waking. Okay, he'd say it 20 times upon waking. Say it throughout the day a little bit. Then before you go to sleep, you say it very slow to put yourself to sleep. I give myself before you know, you're drifting to sleep. Notice I don't say fall asleep. You drift to sleep. Fall means you have no control. You have complete control over your program, your subconscious mind, and these affirmations can help it start working for you, because it's a goal-seeking mechanism. So whether you think this puts out some vibrational energy and that energy reacts back to you, what you put out, or whether you think that your subconscious mind just starts subconsciously finding reasons to help you deadlift 900, who in the hell cares? It works. So positive affirmation. And Steve is a champion, and the best is yet to come, in the words of old Blue Eyes Frank Sinatra. Great job, champ.